still in Russian Federation, there's an opportunity to watch YouTube, to read Telegram channels. And okay, they're afraid they might not have alternative media, international media.
Right.
They might not believe in everything, that crap that they see on the propaganda channel. But still, if you read a lot of Telegram channels with Russians or TikTok or other social media, there are lots of hateful speeches towards Ukrainian.
Of course.
They're happy about bombing,
of course. Or they don't believe, or they do not believe. So part of, can I talk about what we do at the Reckoning Project and why it's really important to document war crimes? So at the Reckoning Project was founded by myself and Peter Pomerantsev, and we work with Natalia Humeniuk here in Ukraine. We document war crimes, Kremlin war crimes. We verify them, and then we use our archives for two ways. One is to help prosecutors build their cases and build their trials against Putin and his machine. The other side of it is that we counter Russian propaganda and disinformation by writing the truth. And the truth is in our evidence. And evidence does not lie. So when you talk about propaganda or messaging, or when people talk about strategic communications, I don't engage in that at all, because what I believe in is that the truth is so horrible that you don't need to exaggerate. You don't need to have a vision of a strategic communications to penetrate a population. You just tell the truth of what is happening in Ukraine, of the war crimes, of the children that have been taken from places like Mariupol, put on buses, bused to Russia so that they could be adopted by Russian families and Russified. Now that is a way of erasing Ukrainian culture, or of the torture, or of the hundreds of people who were killed in Bucha and the way they were killed. They weren't just casualties of war or collateral damage, they were deliberately assassinated and murdered. So in my view, as a human rights investigator, we do not need to exaggerate or to worry about messaging. And somehow you are right. If Russian people want to see the truth or find the truth, they will find a way to get it. I'm not a technology expert. I don't even know how to use TikTok. But I do know that there are always alternative ways of finding out what the truth is. And if any of those people are listening, I hope that they do their very best to try to find out what Vladimir Putin is doing in terms of war crimes and crimes against humanity in Ukraine. I talked about this with my colleague lately, and he said me that he told, I'm sorry, if you are afraid, we can get to the shelter. You're not. That's fine. Okay. I had to tell it. So he asked me, okay, you have the alternative information, you have all the facts that you gather, but how make these people not just to get the interest to read through these investigations and all these facts, but to believe in it? Because even now, they still continue to say, this is fake, you are all lying. Bucha is a production of Hollywood, whatever. Well, they weren't there. Directors. They weren't there. We were there. So that, there were 1,000 of journalists accredited in Lviv Media Center. I was there and I was shocked. 1,000 international media, all with the cameras, all with their eyes witnessing. But this is what Russian propaganda has always done. They did it during the Syrian war. There is right now 2 genocides that I've worked in personally, Bosnia and Rwanda. Srebrenica in Bosnia in 1995, Rwanda in 1994. There are revisionist historians who say these aren't the correct figures. It didn't happen this way. In Srebrenica, the people who were killed were casualties of war. They were combatants. It was a reprisal for Bosnian attacks on Serbs. So history gets completely rewritten. And that is why at the Reckoning Project, we are so concerned about having our archive verification. As I said before, evidence does not lie. So they can believe whatever they want to believe. Frankly, my job is not I'm not a propagandist for the Ukrainians. So it is not my job to convince people inside Russia or in other parts of Ukraine who say this didn't happen. My job is to get this evidence to courts. And that's what I will do. That is what the Reckoning Project does. We will get this evidence to court, and then those courts will determine whether or not Vladimir Putin is guilty of war crimes.
But now it's interesting, we started with this, that the punishment didn't found almost all the war criminals during our era, our period. Let's remember Chechnya, let's remember Georgia, let's remember Syria, let's remember the latest, I'm mixed up in my head.
Putin wars or just
not just Putin.
Afghanistan, Iraq,
yes,
Yemen,
the only thing,
Ethiopia.
The only place it's Yugoslavia, and the only war criminals that were punished it's those who made massacres in Yugoslavia.
Well, not enough of them were punished. There are many of them roaming freely today.
Absolutely. So, that's why my question is, we are so sure that all this special tribunal that will be organized for punishing the war criminals from the Russian Federation. I'm not saying names right now, but anyways, all this investigation, all this data that you are gathering and make an archive. So what makes you so sure that it might happen during our lifetime?
What is the alternative? To do nothing? To look away?
No, absolutely. You're right. Absolutely.
What is the alternative? I mean, I cannot afford to be cynical. If I was, I wouldn't be able to do this work. So I absolutely believe it will happen. I also can say from experience, I have never seen the galvanization of the international community to push forward international justice in Ukraine.